If you have few friends or no friends at all, this video is not here to comfort you, and it's definitely not here to insult you, because the truth is uncomfortable, but also liberating. You were not abandoned because you are broken. You are not alone because you failed socially, and you are not isolated because something is wrong with you. In many cases, the opposite is true. If you've ever looked around and felt that conversations are shallow, that people repeat the same opinions without thinking, that social interactions feel draining instead of nourishing, then this message is for you, because what you're experiencing may not be loneliness. It may be cognitive separation. Most people are taught that having many friends is proof of success, that being socially active means being healthy, that solitude is a problem to be fixed. But psychology tells a more complex story. Highly intelligent and deeply reflective individuals often experience something called social mismatch. Their inner world develops faster and deeper than the social environments around them. They notice patterns others ignore. They sense contradictions beneath polite smiles. They hear what is not being said. And once you see those things, pretending becomes exhausting. You don't struggle to make friends because you lack social skills. You struggle because your mind refuses to stay at the surface. Small talk feels empty. Repetition feels unbearable. Performative personalities feel dishonest. So instead of forcing yourself into spaces that demand masks, you withdraw. Not because you hate people, but because you respect your inner coherence. This is where many people misunderstand you. They label you distant, cold, arrogant, too serious. But what they don't see is the internal cost you pay when you ignore your nature. For someone with a deeply analytical mind, socializing is not passive. It is active processing. You're not just hearing words. You're reading tone, intention, contradiction, emotional undercurrents. Your brain doesn't turn off in company. It works harder, and that comes with a price. While others gain energy from noise, you lose it. While others bond over familiarity, you search for meaning. So over time, you make a quiet decision. You stop chasing connection for its own sake. You stop explaining yourself. You stop shrinking your thoughts to fit rooms that were never built for depth. And slowly, your circle becomes smaller, not because you rejected the world, but because the world rarely meets you where you are. This is the first uncomfortable truth. Intelligence separates before it connects. Not permanently, but temporarily. Because before you find those who resonate with depth, you must endure a phase where surface-level connection no longer satisfies you. And that phase often looks like loneliness from the outside, but from the inside, it feels like clarity colliding with reality. And this is only the beginning. Because what looks like isolation on the surface is often the result of something far deeper happening inside your mind. In the next part, we'll explore how your brain actually works differently, why social interaction drains you faster than others, and why this isn't a weakness, but a biological and psychological reality few people talk about. Stay with me. One of the most confusing experiences for people with few or no friends is this question: why do I feel exhausted after social interaction while others seem energized? The answer is not weakness. It is neurological cost. Psychology shows that not all brains process social information the same way. Some minds operate on the surface, others operate in layers. If you are highly perceptive, your brain is constantly analyzing patterns, facial expressions, micro shifts in tone, inconsistencies between words and behavior, unspoken emotional tension. You are not just talking, you are decoding. And decoding consumes energy. Research in cognitive psychology suggests that people with high sensitivity and high analytical traits experience greater neural activation during social interaction. Your brain does more work in the same amount of time. That means a simple conversation that feels light to others may feel mentally taxing to you. Not because you dislike people, but because your mind refuses to operate on autopilot. This creates a fundamental mismatch. Most social environments reward speed, familiarity, and emotional conformity. They are built for quick bonding, shared jokes, and repeated narratives. But your mind is not wired for repetition. You seek coherence, depth, truth. So when conversations revolve around gossip, status, surface opinions, or emotional performance, your nervous system quietly signals something important. This is costing more than it gives. Over time, your body learns. You start limiting exposure, you shorten interactions, you choose silence over noise. From the outside, this looks like withdrawal. From the inside, it feels like self-preservation. Another key factor is recovery time. Some brains need solitude to reset. After social interaction, your system requires quiet to process everything it absorbed. Thoughts need to settle. Emotional residue needs to clear. Without that recovery, irritation builds, mental fatigue accumulates, and eventually, avoidance becomes automatic. This is why many intelligent, introspective people prefer being alone, not because they fear connection, but because solitude is where clarity returns. Silence is not emptiness for you. It is regulation. Unfortunately, society rarely understands this. We glorify extroversion. We reward constant availability. We equate presence with health. So when someone chooses distance, the assumption is always negative. But psychology tells us something else. People with deeper cognitive processing often require fewer but more meaningful connections. They do not bond through frequency, they bond through resonance. And resonance is rare. This creates a painful paradox. You crave real connection, but you reject most available options, not out of arrogance, but out of integrity. And that integrity has a cost. It means waiting longer. It means enduring misunderstanding. It means being alone in rooms full of people. Yet something important happens during this phase. You begin to develop a strong inner world. You learn to think independently. You become comfortable with your own company. You stop needing constant external validation. This inner stability is powerful, but it also increases separation. Because once you no longer need approval, many social dynamics lose their grip on you. You are no longer motivated by fitting in. You are motivated by alignment. And alignment is not common. This is why the gap widens, not because you are antisocial, but because your standards are no longer unconscious. In the next block, we will go deeper into this idea and expose one of the most misunderstood truths of all. Why people with high intelligence and self-awareness often lose friends not accidentally, but inevitably. And why that loss, as painful as it feels, is often the beginning of something far more stable. At some point, something subtle but irreversible happens. You stop unseeing what you've seen. Once your awareness sharpens, social interaction is no longer neutral. You begin to notice patterns that most people never question. How often people exaggerate. How frequently they seek validation instead of truth. How many conversations are performances rather than exchanges. This is where intelligence begins to isolate, not because you judge others, but because your tolerance for contradiction disappears. You start seeing when words don't match behavior, when kindness is strategic, when interest is conditional. And once your mind registers these patterns, pretending becomes exhausting. This is why many intelligent people don't slowly lose friends. They outgrow them, not in a dramatic way, not through conflict, but through silence. You stop reaching out. You stop initiating conversations that feel hollow. You stop participating in dynamics that require you to lower your awareness. And people feel that shift. They may not understand it, but they sense it. Your energy changes. Your patience shortens. Your interest becomes selective, and suddenly you're different. Psychology calls this cognitive divergence. As your mental complexity increases, shared reality decreases. Most friendships are built on familiarity, not depth. Shared routines, shared complaints, shared distractions. But when your mind moves beyond those anchors, the bond weakens. You're no longer entertained by repetition. You're no longer satisfied with surface agreement. You're no longer comfortable nodding along to ideas that don't make sense to you. This creates discomfort in others, not because you attack them, but because your presence highlights what they avoid. You ask questions instead of agreeing. You pause instead of reacting. You listen instead of performing, and that silence is unsettling. People often prefer certainty over truth, belonging over understanding, comfort over growth. So when you stop feeding those needs, distance forms. Another factor emerges here. You stop needing people the same way. When your inner world becomes rich, social interaction becomes optional, not essential. You no longer rely on others to regulate your emotions. You no longer seek constant affirmation. You no longer fear being alone. And paradoxically, this independence makes connection harder, because many relationships are unconsciously built on mutual need. When need disappears, so does the glue. This is where the misunderstanding deepens. From the outside, it looks like detachment. From the inside, it feels like alignment. You are no longer willing to trade authenticity for acceptance, and that decision, once made, cannot be undone. This is why intelligent solitude often appears suddenly, not because something went wrong, but because something clicked. You realized that being surrounded does not equal being understood, and that realization changes everything. Yet here is the part few people talk about. This phase is not meant to last forever. It is a transition, a recalibration. Before deeper connection becomes possible, superficial connection must fall away. But that doesn't make it easy. In the next block, we'll confront the emotional cost of this process. Why intelligence often comes with loneliness, how it impacts trust, and why many people mistake this phase for failure when it is actually a sign of psychological maturity. Stay with me. There is a part of this journey that almost no one warns you about: the emotional cost. Because even when solitude is chosen consciously, it still hurts. Intelligence does not erase the human need for connection. Self-awareness does not cancel the desire to be seen. Clarity does not make you immune to longing. So when your circle shrinks, something inside you grieves, not the people themselves, but the idea of belonging. You may find yourself missing conversations you no longer enjoy, missing people you no longer trust, missing a version of yourself that fit more easily into the world. This is where many people break. They assume something is wrong. They panic. They try to force reconnection. They lower standards. They tolerate behaviors that drain them. They re-enter spaces that require masks, and each time they do, something inside them erodes. Because once awareness is gained, ignoring it creates internal conflict. Psychology calls this cognitive dissonance. Your mind knows one thing, your actions signal another, and living in that gap creates anxiety, irritability, even depression. This is why many intelligent people feel emotionally heavy during this phase. They are not lonely in the traditional sense. They are misaligned. They are grieving connection while refusing false connection. This tension affects trust. Past disappointments sharpen perception. Betrayals, even small ones, leave residue. So your brain becomes cautious. You observe longer, you test more, you delay openness. From the outside, this looks guarded. From the inside, it feels necessary, because trust is no longer given automatically. It is earned through consistency, and consistency is rare. Another painful truth emerges here. The more self-aware you become, the harder it is to relate to people who avoid themselves. You notice deflection. You see avoidance disguised as humor. You recognize emotional immaturity hidden behind confidence. And once you see these patterns, unseeing them is impossible. So you stop engaging, not to punish others, but to protect your peace. This creates an emotional paradox. You crave depth, but depth requires vulnerability, and vulnerability requires trust. So you wait, and waiting feels like isolation. Yet this waiting is not emptiness. It is preparation. During this phase, something crucial develops: emotional autonomy. You learn to self-regulate. You process emotions internally. You stop outsourcing stability. This is a rare skill, and it changes the kind of relationships you can form. You are no longer seeking someone to complete you. You are seeking someone to meet you, and that shift raises the bar dramatically, which means fewer people qualify. But those who do will connect at a level most never experience. This is why this phase, as painful as it feels, is necessary. It filters noise. It sharpens discernment. It builds self-respect. And self-respect is the foundation of any meaningful bond. In the final block, we will bring everything together. You'll understand why this solitude is not permanent, what kind of connection becomes possible after it, and why the price of intelligence, though high, leads to something far more stable than popularity. Stay with me. This is the part most people never reach, because most people escape the silence before it finishes its work. But if you've stayed, if you didn't numb yourself with noise, if you didn't betray your clarity just to feel included, something begins to change. You stop seeing solitude as absence and start recognizing it as selection. The truth is this: intelligence does not condemn you to loneliness. It delays connection until it can be real. The phase you're in is not an ending, it is a filtration process. Everything superficial falls away first. Everything performative loses appeal. Everything conditional reveals itself. And what remains is rare, but stable. When connection finally happens again, it feels different. There is no rush, no need to impress, no fear of silence. You don't bond over distraction, you bond over truth. Conversation feels expansive instead of draining. Presence feels grounding instead of heavy. You are no longer explaining yourself, you are being understood. This is why the price of intelligence is high at the beginning, because it demands that you walk alone until your nervous system no longer confuses attention with connection, until you no longer accept proximity as intimacy, until you no longer trade self-respect for belonging. And when that shift happens, everything changes. You stop asking, "What's wrong with me?" and start asking, "Who actually belongs here?" This is the moment identity stabilizes. You are no longer defined by how many people surround you. You are defined by how deeply you live. This is why many of the most grounded people you will ever meet once walked alone. They weren't avoiding others. They were refining themselves. They were learning discernment. They were strengthening boundaries. They were building an inner life rich enough to stand on its own. And from that place, connection becomes choice, not necessity. If you are here right now, watching this, and recognizing yourself in these words, understand this clearly. You are not late. You are not defective. You are not missing something everyone else has. You are developing something most people never do: inner authority, emotional independence, cognitive depth, and those qualities will shape every future relationship you form. So don't rush this phase. Don't apologize for it. Don't explain it to people who cannot feel it. Let it finish its work. Because what comes after is not loneliness. It is alignment. And alignment attracts what noise never could.